big news. WGA and the AMTP, they did reach a deal. Of course, over the last week, they were announcing they would meet Friday and they meet this week, and it's taken 5 months. But it feels like since they got over their stalemate, it seems like based on the agreements they're reporting, that they're getting everything they asked for from the producers, which is amazing. Even though the writers' strikes are done, they're still going to continue to support the actors' strikes.
I was so excited when I heard about this, especially on Saturday when it seemed like they were really closing in on making a deal. I was like, okay, great. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for all the writers. So there's been a few updates from time of recording till now. First, the entire WGA MBA agreement is available to everyone to view on the WGA Contract 2023 website, so you can see in detail exactly what the writers got. In addition to that, the ratification will take place next week, but writers are able to return to work during that time. And the AMPTP and the Sag-Aftra will restart negotiations next week, Monday, for the first time since the strikes began. And all of this could feasibly be over before the end of October, beginning of November. What I'm thinking, which I think most people are kind of understanding, is that like because the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA strikes are very similar in what they were striking about and asking for, that if one deal was able to be made, then the next thing would be kind of easier because it's
Yeah.
like, well, we've covered most of this with one union, so we can pretty much do the same thing with the other one. It's so interesting that this strike, I thought that it's like only people like who cared about film and stuff cared. No, everyone knows what's happening here and they're like, we can't wait for it to end. Like I'm talking to people who like don't really watch movies and film like that, who are like, when is this going to be over? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that you were invested in this. They care that this strike ends. They want their shows back. We want Stranger Things, we want Severance. It just shows like what a huge impact this summer of strikes have
Yeah.
been on all of us. Like, it's really crazy.
Think what got them the most, and I feel so bad for Drew Barrymore, but then again, I don't, because you would think she knew better, her trying to push forth her talk show. I think her intentions were
Mm-hmm.
good because you had
Mm-hmm.
crew who were outside the unions who needed the money, but
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, she's SAG-AFTRA, she guess she's also Writers Guild affiliated, but she's breaking those lines. And somebody was saying, had she waited a week, she probably would have been fine.
I feel like she really thought that she was doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
that's what's sad about it is because it's like, I think her intentions were good, but she was just really misguided in terms of like what this would actually mean
Hmm.
for the strikes and how it could hurt the WGA by not using their writers on the show. But also understanding that like she feels responsible for this entire crew and feels like, well, they're not working and I want to help them out. So I think that her heart was in the right place, but she just didn't go about it the right way. And again, it's so interesting that her show, The Talk, Bill Maher, and Jennifer Hudson, all these other people, they were like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and do it anyways. And then everyone got upset. And then as soon as Drew Barrymore said, okay, you know what? We're not going to do it. Everyone reversed course. Like
Yeah.
every single show was just like, okay, yeah, no, we don't want it. And it's like, that is the power of public opinion and the
Yeah.
power of like the public relations. Like people just didn't want the bad PR. So they were like, fine, we just won't do it. And then a deal was reached. And now they can go ahead and do their show. Like the talk shows are going to be the first things that are going to come back because again, you don't need actors for that.
Hmm.
So like if they would have just been patient, they wouldn't have even needed to do all of that. Like
And
early.
the hits keep on coming because one of the actors who said he didn't really understand the strike or anything, Stephen Amell, his show got canceled by Stars. So he's like, Stars announced that they were canceling 4 shows. So for all his, yay, producers, I'm with you as an actor. This shit makes no sense. The writers, screw them. His show got canceled. So good job, Stephen Amell.
Martin Scorsese says to everyone, or yes, to the entire film industry, to fight back against comic book movie culture by supporting directors like Christopher Nolan, saying that we've got to save cinema. I just watched his GQ interview where he talked about all of his films, and it was so good. Like, he is just the realest one out there. Like, I don't know. It's funny when he came out with these comments years ago. I remember when he first made the comments about, oh, comic book movies are like theme park rides. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, these movies mean something. I am so embarrassed. He was right. Like, he couldn't have been more correct. He was just seeing it before everyone else saw it, I think. So I understand what he's saying because he kind of explained it more when he was just like, he's not saying that the people who are working on it are not talented or that these movies don't have some type of impact. He's just saying that, like, the fact that these movies exist really blocks out other movies from being seen. Movies that are original, movies that are made like Nolan's movies. I think he also mentioned the Safdie brothers and people who are making movies like that, but don't have the budget to make bigger movies because those budgets are being reserved for superhero movies and sequels and prequels. And he's so right. And I feel like, again, and I said this earlier, everything that's happening right now, the strikes, all of these companies losing money, this year was really like a turning point in terms of like what the industry is going to be going forward.
Like we've kind of seen the diminishing returns of the superhero or comic book movie genre as a moment. Like even with we've talked about the failures at Warner Brothers, not just on the comic book side, but all their properties has been so far. And we see it now with Disney and Marvel. Like their movies have been diminishing returns. Like it was always going to happen eventually, but I think these studios are still trying to bank on them. Um, but it is what it is. That's always been Hollywood. I mean, before, like our parents, it was like, or before that, it was what Cowboys and Indian stuff. Then it became Italian mobster stuff. Then it became this retro nostalgia stuff about the 70s and 80s.
The thing is like Hollywood is a business, so there's always going to be money to be made there. But I think now more than ever, with these inflated budgets for these films, and also just how much these movies are making, I think business owners and CEOs and tech bros are looking to Hollywood to say like, okay, this is a place where we can make a lot of money. That's not how this works. And also, this is an art form. Like, this is not whatever else y'all be doing. This isn't Wall Street. This isn't whatever is going on over there. Like, this is something different. It is a business, but it's still a creative industry. And the fact that Martin Scorsese was basically making like independent films that ends up doing huge numbers and really captivating the culture and like reinventing what movie making actually is. He now, first of all, he's like a historian, like he knows everything.
Yeah.
But like he also pours into young filmmakers and he like helps them get their films made. And I think that that's what needs to happen now. It's going to usher in, a reinvention, I think.
Did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16mm Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.